Welcome to Junior Achievement, and on behalf of JA, we want to thank you for being a classroom volunteer. My name is Jennifer, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the JA Ourselves curriculum. In your volunteer's guide, you will find that at the very beginning there's some information that you might want to read through about planning your materials, preparing for your classroom, and some tips, as well as a page of the master list of materials that should be in your kit. It's always a good idea just to double check that you have everything that you'll need for your sessions, and if for some reason you would find something missing or you misplace it, let the JA office know and we can make sure that we get you those appropriate materials. It's also suggested that you go ahead and sort through your materials. On each of the material, it will name what the name of the material is, as well as the session that you will need it for. We suggest that you go ahead and sort out the material, have a manila folder for each of the sessions. That way you have everything divided and ready to go before you start. For session 1, you will need your JA volunteer guide, table tents. I do highly recommend that you receive a class list from the teacher prior to and you fill these out instead of taking up class time to fill them out, especially at this age range. The My Favorite Animals worksheet, the Learning About Ourselves Big Book, the Junior Journals, as well as the Ourselves magnets. The students will also need crayons. Those are typically available in their classroom. Whenever I start this activity, I actually start by having the students come to what I would call a carpet area. Most classrooms have them. You might want to check with your teacher just to make sure, but typically there's an area where they read big books. Tell them your name, tell them where you work at, tell them what you do. Maybe you have a favorite school memory and make sure that you connect with the students. Then tell them you volunteer with Junior Achievement and what volunteer means. Because you already have the table tents pre-labeled with their names, go ahead and display one of the tents and say, I see that I have the name Alexander. Whose name is this? And then say, could you tell me your name? Some names might be more difficult to pronounce than others, so you can say, can you tell me your name? Awesome, tell me what your favorite color is, and ask the same question to every single student. It's nice to meet you, and then move on and go through each one of them. I would not suggest handing these to each of the students. I believe the volunteer guide does recommend that. I find it to be a distraction that the students have these in their lap when you're ready to read the book. So go ahead and just tell them to tell you their name, something about them like a favorite color, favorite thing in school, if they like to read books, etc. And then tell them that you enjoy reading. And one thing that you're going to get to do is you're going to be reading a story to them every time you visit. So you're going to use this book called Learning About Ourselves. Go ahead and introduce the book. You can talk about the front cover, you can talk about the title, things like that. And tell them that you're going to introduce them to some of your storybook friends. And then ask them, before we start, I want you to tell me what kind of animals do you know that live on a farm? Now sometimes this can be a lot of fun for kindergartners. Tell them, they might mention cows and say, oh yeah, cows are really good because we milk cows. So let's pretend like we're going to milk a cow, and then you could pretend to milk a cow. Then say something about feeding a chicken. Somebody might say chickens, and then say, yeah, let's feed the chickens, and pretend to go ahead and feed the chickens. This will go well along with your story as well. As you're reading along, you could actually have them act out those suggested actions like feeding the chicken, milking the cows, etc. And then you might also want to explain what trade is. That's part of the story in this lesson. Tell them that it's something that you give something in order to get something back. When you're all done with the story, or as you go throughout, there are some questions listed in your volunteer guide. You are welcome to use those as prompting. Some good questions at the end are, what happens first? What happens next? What happens last? Then tell the students, thank you for sitting so quietly, you did a great job. Now what we're going to do is I am going to ask you to do an activity. Tell them that they are going to return to their spots, and they are actually going to get a piece of paper where they need to write their name, and then they're going to draw their favorite animal. Now, sometimes it's best to actually say, what's your favorite animal? And then have them list a bunch of ideas. Some people write them on the board, some people just brainstorm out loud. That way they already are generating some ideas and can be thinking about what animal that they want to draw. Send them back to their desk, hand out the worksheets, have them get out their crayons or their markers, and then have them start drawing. Encourage them to finish quickly. Tell them they only have a few minutes to work and to work quickly and quietly. Also, when I sometimes have early finishers, I encourage the students to draw the animal in their habitat. So I tell them, do they live in the desert? Do they live in the forest? Do they live in the water? Draw their surroundings that they live in. Sometimes also, I have them write a sentence about their animal. Another good idea for this age group is give them a 5-minute warning. Let them know when time is almost up, so that way they can plan accordingly. When you're all done, time is up. Let them know that time is up. Collect their drawings. Sometimes I also then call them back to the carpet area just to kind of regather them. Tell them that you appreciated their time. Tell them today has been fun and that they'll learn new friends and talk about new stories the next time that you'll return. Make sure that if you did hand out the table tents today, make sure that you collect them for next time. And then also tell them you have a special gift for them, that you have postcards. Show them what the magnet does, how it works. Tell them that it's something that they can tell their family about, and that you'll give them to the teacher, and the teacher will make sure that each one of them gets one. Enjoy your session 1.